Welcome back to the new Little Life channel. My name is Allison Tolman. I'm a breast pump expert and a coach for working moms. If you're new here and pumping will be part of your experience, I hope you're already subscribed. We have a lot of breast pump videos on this channel, both reviews and tips on how to use them. Particularly if you're a working mom, you'll want to make sure that you're around. If you're still looking to choose a breast pump and that's why you're here because you saw these on an insurance list or you're curious about them, there's a really great quiz down below in the description. I highly recommend that you take it. It will kind of walk you through which type of pump might be best for you and then give you a list of our top recommendations. So that's a great place to check if you're still looking for a breast pump. Today we're going to be talking about the Lansinoh wearable pumps. There's two wearable pumps from Lansinoh. They came out at very similar timing. So let's talk about a little bit the differences between the two of these. And if you already have one, we'll kind of walk you through how to use it, how to maximize it for best use, or if you're still kind of deciding. I have seen these quite a bit pop up on insurance company lists or lists from DMEs. So I know you'll probably see these on lists that you can get either, for free or an upgrade or things. So let's talk about them. A few years ago, we developed a custom device and started testing breast pumps. So we have a lot of data on, I think there's over 100 breast pumps in my closet over there. We've tested a lot of them. And so it's really fun to compare a lot of these together, not only between, brands, but just across the market. And I think knowing that is kind of going to be a conversation that we're going to focus on today when we're talking about these two Lansinoh pumps, just because sometimes it matters on what else is available to compare them and really get a fully in-depth understanding of the pump. So let's go ahead and start with this one. This is the Lansinoh wearable pump, okay? It is an original design from Lansinoh, so we haven't seen, a pump with the same programming and things like that before. So Lansinoh, I believe, did design this pump. This one is not the case. I've seen this pump many times before. It's kind of a white label pump that they marketed in another way. So this pump is currently on their website for $199. It says it's on sale. So it's usually $250. So put it in the category of not cheap pumps, right? It's kind of right in that middle land. And I will say, just right off the bat, for $250, even $200, I don't know if this is actually worth that. The reviews on the website were actually really interesting to look at. It has like 3.9 stars, but you can tell a lot of the reviews were from like a testing that they did when they sent out pumps to people, and they're noted on there. But there are a lot of 3-star reviews from people that got free pumps that I think we're probably encouraged not to leave less than a 3-star, but it doesn't have the best reviews. And it's been on the market now for like almost a year, I think 10 months maybe at this point. So we've had quite a few users use it. If you already have it and it's working well for you, that's great. One of the things that this pump does have going for it is it is running pretty fast cycle speeds. So in stimulation mode, it's got, I think it went up to like 165 maybe when I tested it, really fast, and stayed above 110 even as you turned up the suction. So really fast cycle speeds in stimulation mode, meaning that a lot of people are responding initially really well to this pump, getting let downs quickly, milk is coming. There's some other really interesting things that are happening with this pump in terms of the suction. And Jessica Anderson from Genuine Lactation kind of described it as a push more than a pull sensation. It's really hard to capture, and on a graph it looks the same as other similar pumps, but when you put it on, you can definitely feel it kind of snapping back into the breast with each pull. Does that make sense? So it's doing something weird, maybe potentially not stimulating the nipple enough or in the right way that we like. So some people that have used this pump a little bit longer term have said they responded initially to it really well. Again, those fast speeds will do that, but over time it didn't end up sustaining their milk supply very well. So if you do already have this pump and you're using it, just be cautious of that has been a known complaint. And I think it's just kind of the way that the suction is programmed, if that makes sense. It is fairly simple to use. This is very similar to other Lansinoh pumps. It's got plus and minus for the suction here, pause, play, that's pretty easy. This toggles between stimulation and expression mode. And then it's got this three speed button, and the Lansinoh Signature Pro, and I think the Smart Pump also have that. So very Lansinoh-esque on that there. You can do 3 different speeds in expression mode, okay? I'm just gonna say, you'll notice when I turn this on that this pump is fairly loud. It has kind of a kind of a whooshing sound to it. I don't know if you can hear that. Sorry, it helps to put it on suction so you can hear what it actually sounds like. Thankfully, I have very round cheeks, so it makes this really easy. So it's kind of got a whooshing sound. Again, this is on a very low level, but this is stimulation mode. Okay, this light is lit up right here. When you move it over into expression mode, then this little the 3 will be set up here. Sorry, it's really loud, isn't it? You can kind of choose which speed you want it on. So 1 light is the fastest, and then 2 is a little bit slower, and 3 is a little bit slower. What I noticed in the pattern is the cycle speed did slow down a little bit, maybe like 10 cycles per minute slower on each of those levels. But what happened on the pattern was that it, you know, on that first faster mode, it just went up and down, up and down. And then by the third one, it was more of an up, hold, down, up, hold, down. So it's kind of it's holding more at the top than just going straight up and down. So again, this pump, would I pay $200 for it? Heavens no. But sometimes it's offered for free via your insurance. Would I use my insurance benefit on this pump? Also probably not. So just know if you already have it, you're like, oh crap, well I already did it. You know, do the best you can with it. I don't recommend this as your only pump for sure, just because it has been really unreliable in sustaining milk supplies long term. But it does have some really cool features. Like Lansinoh was on the right track there with this pump. I just don't know if it got all the way there. You actually can take this off and use this as a cup as well. So if you already have the pump and you're like, yeah, it's not working, I totally get that. You still have a functional cup because you can hook in a piece of tubing right here and hook it to another more portable style pump. So that's cool. Okay. Another really cool thing about this pump, particularly the cup here, is that there is way less parts to clean. So they actually have eliminated the valve in this system. So you really only have 3 parts. You have this like backflow membrane kind of thing that's also kind of functioning like a valve, and a cup and flange. Like that's it. So that is a really cool thing. I hope more pumps start doing that. We always love less parts to clean because it's just, we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. Right? Again, fairly easy to set up just because there is not very many parts. So the cup itself comes in a 25mm size, which I've seen a few companies do this 25mm size thing, and it kind of drives me crazy because most of the inserts available fit a 24mm flange. This does have a fairly short tunnel as well. So if you do get an insert, make sure that it's a short one or one that's designed for a shorter tunnel. If you have elastic nipples, or if you tend toward that way too, if you just know you need a little bit more length, this is probably not a great option for you. So it is a bit tall. It will definitely stick out like the top of your bra. So make sure you have a bra that can cover and support the motor, because if the bra comes across this break line here, that can be a little bit tricky. I don't think this top is going to come off, but you definitely want it seated in the right way, and it's not the most discreet options. That being said, I feel like that was a lot of negative about this pump, and it probably was. So if you're thinking about this pump, just know it is not high on my list. If you already have it and are trying to troubleshoot it, do your best to reach out to a professional for some help, but just know that this may not be a long-term great option for you. So at $200, I'm not sure I would maybe go there if I had a choice. Okay. Now let's talk about the Lansinoh DiscreetDuo. This pump I've seen quite a bit more often, like in the circles of pumping, and this one does have a 24mm flange style, which is nice. This is not a Lansinoh pump. Okay, it is a Lansinoh pump because it says Lansinoh on it and it's purple. But I've seen this pump before. This was marketed as from NCVI, which is a company that's known to do a lot of white label pumps. So you can use whatever patents they have in stock. You can put your name and colors on it. You can rebrand it and sell it as your own. Okay, and that's kind of what happened with this. So you can get this exact same NCVI pump for $60 on Amazon. Okay, this one currently on the Lansinoh website is going for $160. Okay, so I've also seen it for free via insurance companies. Okay, so let me just tell you, insurance companies are going to get paid a very similar amount no matter what pump they give you, right? So they're looking for cheaper options, you know, DMEs or even your insurance. They're looking for cheaper options so that they can make more of a profit, because they're likely going to get a lump sum from the insurance company. Does that make sense? So no insurance company is going to pay $160 for this. They're probably, and if you can get the same pump on Amazon with just a different name on it for $60, that probably means that the wholesale value of this pump is like $20 to $40, I would think. So would I pay $160 for this pump? No. Would I use my insurance benefit on it? No. Again, and not that it's a terrible pump, like it actually does an okay job and it's a fine thing. But I think if you're going to utilize your insurance benefit or spending that kind of money, I think there are much better options on the market than this one. And again, not that this is better than this one, in my opinion. So, I think it's just a conversation that needs to be had. If you're going to spend money or if you're going to use an insurance benefit, you should make sure that it's going toward an investment that will likely be a good one and worth it. Does that make sense? This one also has a very short tunnel. Okay, so if you have elastic nipples or if your nipple wants to stretch medium size at all, and just know it's pretty short. However, they do have some really great inserts that go with this as well. There's a bunch on the Lansinoh website. I actually went in to check replacement parts for this pump on Lansinoh website, and I could find quite a few replacement parts for this. I couldn't find any replacement parts for this. Not that there's like a lot that you would need to replace, but I couldn't even find that membrane in there. Or if it warped or a copper warped, something like that, you'd have to rebuy the whole thing, which was kind of interesting. So just a note. This one actually has even worse reviews on their website than the other one, but if I had to pick between these two, I would probably pick this one. Again, I would not pay full price for it because I don't think it's worth that just as a pump. But it does have some good features. Let's talk about those. I liked the programming on this pump. The cycle speeds were good. They were about 116, I think, in stimulation mode, down to like 80 or so. And then expression mode was good as well. Again, a little bit on the quicker side, but I tend to like that a little bit better for more moms, so that's a good feature as well. Fairly simple to use and definitely much quieter than its Lansinoh companion. Actually, it's pretty quiet compared to several, so that's nice. So you've got a power button here, you hold that to turn it on, and then the pause button up here will start and stop it. And then all you have is a plus and minus for suction to move that around, okay? The power button here will do different modes for you as well. So as it's been on in stimulation mode, I don't know if you heard that adjustment, but it's kind of auto advancing in the suction. So it started on 1 and now it's on 2. Oh, it just auto advanced again. So now it's on 3. So the suction is going up as it sits there, okay? So the first mode here is this little wavy one, and that is stimulation mode. I'm gonna turn the suction up a little bit and let you listen. Can you hear how it's having 6 or 7 or 8 little bursts and then a little bit longer one? That's the stimulation mode, okay? It's not nearly as dramatic as something like the Baby Buddha that goes really far up, but it's kind of doing that. And again, I don't really have a problem with that. The suction was really fine doing that from my opinion, but that is kind of what the stimulation mode looks like. So if you hit the power button again, it will take you to expression mode. Okay, that's the second mode here on the top. This is a pretty standard expression mode, just kind of designed to express milk. I don't know. The next mode is called massage mode, which is really confusing because massage mode is another name for stimulation mode on a lot of pumps. Like those terms are interchangeable. So that's a really confusing term. It's not stimulation or letdown mode, okay, even though they do call it massage mode, I think. So just know it's another expression option for you, okay? So we're gonna go to the third option here. This one is a little bit faster and just a little bit different. Again, once milk stops flowing in expression mode, you might go into this mode to just kind of help encourage extra letdowns. You could also go back into stimulation mode or that letdown mode, which would help give letdowns too. It's a really normal part of pumping. If you do want to go back to that stimulation mode though, you're gonna have to cycle through all the modes, right? You can't just toggle back and forth. It always goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? So this one might be a nice one to use after milk stops flowing after that first letdown. Hopefully you can get a couple additional letdowns. And then this last mode here is the auto advance mode. So it's similar to the other ones. It's just kind of a standard up and down, but it's auto advancing the suction as it goes. Every 15 seconds or so, it's going up in suction, okay? Oh, there it went from 4 to 5 all by itself. I don't love that because I'm like, why are we just going up and up and up in suction? Like you should be able to find your maximum comfortable suction and then stay there and or adjust as needed. So that mode to me is a little bit odd because I don't really want my pump going up and up and up, especially if you are doing something else while you're pumping. You may not notice that the suction goes up higher and higher and higher. Like more suction is not always better. In fact, we have another video on the channel talking about that, and I think that would be really interesting to explore as you're looking at this pump. So settings are not confusing, but they do kind of go in order. So you have that letdown mode to help get a letdown, expression mode, and then an alternate expression mode that's like a little bit faster. And then that auto advanced mode where the suction is going up and up and up. This pump is pretty quiet. I do like the soft silicone on the other side. That tends to work really well. It does have a pretty discreet size and shape. So overall, I think it's a decent functioning pump. They do have some inserts to help make it smaller. I think it goes down to size 17. So if you need smaller than a 17, you'll have to get something similar. So you can see these are pretty short little inserts. So just make sure you get one that is short enough and or can be cut if you need to go lower than 17. There have been some reports that this pump hasn't lasted an entire pumping experience, but again, it's a potentially inexpensive pump being sold kind of at an expensive price. So again, would I spend $160 like is on their website on this pump? No. Would I use my insurance benefit on it? I mean, if it was the best, sometimes it's funny. In our Facebook group, we often get people that will post lists of what their insurance offers, right? And the whole group is talking about breast pump reviews. Like that's the whole purpose. Sometimes we're picking between like the bottom of the barrel. Does that make sense? So sometimes it's like, well, based on the other options you got, if you're going to get a wearable anyway, like maybe you should get this one because it's a decent pump and it's probably better than the other ones on this list. Does that make sense? If I was looking at a list of wearable pumps that are on the market now, this would probably be not near the top. But again, it's not like a terrible option. So if you already have it and you're trying to figure out how to use it optimally, I hope those settings kind of walk through helped. Wearable pumps in general just are a bit tricky. And there's another video on the channel I'll put down in the description that talks about some of the ways to maximize a wearable pump just because they are harder to get efficient milk removal. They're harder to get the right flange size. They're just a little bit harder to learn to work in general just because of the nature of how they're used. So I'll put that down there for you below. Overall, I just think these pumps require a discussion, okay? Are they inherently bad? No, except for maybe this one. It actually might be in the long term, but I think a discussion needs to be had because a little bit it feels like we're taking an inexpensive pump and trying to maximize the profits that we get from that. And that's not always my favorite thing. So if you really like this pump and you're like, I really like those features, I really want to try it, just go get the cheaper one from Amazon, the NCVI. You know what I mean? There's like no reason to go with the Lansinoh brand. I would think like save your money, save $100. You know what I mean? And get a better option through your insurance. But overall, not a bad pump. They've got several replacement parts on the website now. They were a little bit slow getting those out when the pump first came out, but they're there now. These are very specific parts. You're going to have to order them from the Lansinoh website or the NCVI website because literally, or Amazon, because it's literally the same. It's the same exact pump. Okay, this diaphragm has a little, you see that little divot in it? To kind of like accommodate and help the nipple stretch a little bit further. Again, soft silicone flange and a little valve in there, small little valve. That'll be need to changed out occasionally as well. Okay, so there you go, Lansinoh wearable pumps. We've talked about these on the channel before, and like I said, there'll be more videos and links down in the description down there for you, at least to kind of figure out what breast pump might work well for you, whether it's these or something else, and kind of go from there. If I can help, let me know, especially if you're a working mom, kind of want high-level support touch. That's what we do inside of our coaching program. There's more information down below. All right, good luck. Please leave me a note in the comment if you've tried these pumps. What have you thought? What questions do you have? And we'll go from there. All right, happy pumping.